I would say I'm really tired, but at the same time, I'm more excited than tired. So like it's now an end process. Um, Probably more I do the business, more I want to open more businesses. Like again, like with infrastructure, with different servers. Like you have one server and you want to separate it in smaller servers, but in different directions. So there are those like logical units responsible for different things, different niches, and probably in the future I would like to have more businesses. Again, it's not about money, it's just about the scale. Yes,
Mm.
it's really, I would say, like the bigger scale, the more exciting the business you do, probably for younger and entrepreneurs, people who just starting their business and they're really curious how it works.
Hey everyone, this is Devin Miller here with another episode of The Inventive Founder. I'm your host, Devin Miller, the serial entrepreneur that's grown several startups into 7 and 8 figure businesses, as well as the founder and CEO of Miller IP Law, where he helps startups and small businesses with their patents and trademarks. You ever need help with yours, just go to strategymeeting.com, grab some time with us to chat, and we're always here to help. Now, today we've got another great guest on the podcast, Slava Podmurnyi, and that's as close as I'm going to get to pronouncing it right. But Slava talk a little bit about the founding of his current business. And so he was a software developer working for others and wanted to work on a fuller scope of the business, not just on the technical tasks. So started out doing freelancing gigs on the side, and then turned that into a full-time business and full-time projects, and landed first gig a few weeks after doing that, switched over to full-time, and gave his employer notice. Did that around 2010, been doing it ever since, and kept building out the business, picking up projects, bringing on employees, and then made some evolutions to the business as well, and has continued to expand and to grow. So with that much as an introduction, welcome on the podcast, Slava.
Hello, Devin. Thank you for the invitation. And you pronounced my surname is pretty actually good, so it's not a problem at all.
It's as good as I'm gonna get it. So hopefully it's close enough. But so now with that in mind, before we dive into your founding journey a bit, and just as a quick reminder of the audience, so Slava's been on a couple of the sister podcasts to this one, so both the Inventive Journey and the Inventive Expert. So certainly, if you want to go and hear a little bit more about his expertise and or about his full journey, feel free to go and catch those previous episodes. But for the audience members that haven't had a chance to go catch those episodes, give us a quick introduction to yourself.
So basically, I'm doing software development for many years, since probably 2010. I started my own business. We do custom software development, probably more close to this, like VR and metaverses niche, more interactive development. But we also do infrastructure and all kind of things. Basically, we do the whole ecosystem for our clients.
Awesome. So definitely a great background, and excited to chat with you for a bit. So as we discussed a little bit before, the Inventive Founder is really kind of focused on the journey, not the full journey, which we do in the Inventive Journey, but the journey of the founding of the current business, and kind of how you got it going up and started, how it's evolved and iterated, and kind of what that looks like. So maybe just to set the stage a little bit, where were you at the founding of this business, or what was going on?
So at very beginning, I was working as a software engineer in some company, so just a hired person. Everything was fine. I liked the compensation, the social package was kind of good for the time, and everything was great. But probably it was, a little bit too boring for me. At some point, I realized that I just connect API to the, I don't know, like mobile application, and just show the output. That's it. And I realized, oh my God, if I'm going to do that for my whole life, it's not what I wanted.
Hmm.
So just I spent some evenings to find some clients on some online platforms like Elance, Upwork, remember exactly. And at some point, I found the very first client. And once I found the client, I decided, okay, it's one step ahead. And I just decide to to go out from my existing job and start working with that client. I was young at that point, so there were no major problems, no big family or I don't know house I need to pay or something like that. So it was like a nice experiment and it was a really nice project. It was like kind of Instagram for dogs, and and
So
I
now,
accomplished it.
just diving into that a bit more, so because you started out, you had your full-time job or the full-time gig that was, to a degree, paying the bills and keeping the lights on and those, so to speak. And rather than just, if I putting words in your mouth, but definitely correct me where I'm wrong, rather than just making the full-time leap all at once and saying, hey, this isn't what I want to do with my life or my career long term, you started out doing it as kind of side gigs or starting to dip your toe in the water, so to speak, to see if you actually liked it and is this something you wanted to kind of make the transition or switch over to. Is that accurate, or anything that I missed there?
Mm, I just like once I get like this first client, I decide, okay, I want to try this way, just being freelance. Like I haven't been like happy with probably my, I would say like I wasn't happy about the work environment in that company. It was a nice company, nice projects, nice people around, but like being they had like very strict day routine, like you need to be at work at 9 and like leave office at some point. Also, I believe like if you're a software engineer, it's more about creativity. Yes, sometimes you wake up at night and you just develop things because you have an inspiration. And
Hmm.
I decided like I want to be more creative. I want to create software and like help other people just to deliver them. And I wasn't alone. We decided to like I had like a partner and we still work together. Our CTO Anatoly, we're still together in this business. And once I get that project, I convinced Anatoly to also do this step with me. So there were like two
Hmm.
of us, which is much easier, like to go in a dark forest together.
No, makes sense. And a lot of times it's nice to have that partner that helps you share the load, lets you bounce ideas off of them, and gives you kind of that ability to feel like you're not quite on it alone, or on that lonely journey. And so you guys kind of said, okay, we'll start it out, trying testing it out, getting the first or landed the first real gig, decided, okay, have enough flexibility, have enough ability to try this out. If it doesn't go well, then I'll go back to what I was doing. But you guys jumped over into it full time. And so now as you jumped over, that's always kind of, I think sometimes, at least for a lot of people, a scary leap, because now you're going from what is in quotes secure. In other words, somebody worries about, bringing in the projects, making payroll, running the business, and all of the other things associated with not just doing the work, to having to manage that yourself. And so now as you're making that leap or doing it full time, as you're starting out the business and doing it with the partner full time, how did it go? Did it take off like a rocket ship, and was more work than you knew what to do and money was raining down from the skies, or was it bumpy or figuring things out, or it was slow? Or kind of walk us through a little bit of the early days as to how that went for you.
I would say probably for the first year we're really poor, like eating some crap food and just barely paying our bills the first year. But at the same time, the first year we probably got like around 10 people already employees.
Hmm.
And there were a lot of challenges, like usually when you go to work, everything is solved for you, like accounting, I don't know, like legal part. When you do on your own, you're responsible for all of that, like signing agreements, paying some bills, paying taxes. It's so much different. But we have found a lot of startups, like which helped us to automate all this legal processing stuff, and that's definitely helped us. When you pay like I don't know, like $50 per month, and they resolve all those questions for you. That was really great. Uh, so probably the first year was more about understanding where we are.
Hmm.
We started finding more and more clients. So that's why we've scaled to like around 10 people in the first year. And that was like exciting. We rented our first office, like hired some people, started doing some policies, paying some payroll, salaries, compensation to some contractors, for example, and start thinking about like, and we have started thinking about business model only probably after a year or two. So at the very beginning, it was just finding job and delivering projects. Pretty simple, but a lot of challenges and a lot of education on that way.
No, it sounds like it was a good. So now you spend that first year and kind of figure things out. And it's always interesting. And I think no matter, even if you've done startups and small business before that first year, you're just trying to figure out what you're doing. In other words, how do you manage things? How do you hire people? How do you fire people? How do you bring people on board? How do you do customer service? How do you do payroll? How do you do taxes? And all the things that you think that you never really think about as an employee. Now you get to think about as when you're running the business. And so I think that and then it's how do you find clients and how do you do lead generation and all of those things. And so I think there's always that steep learning curve that everybody faces whenever you get into a new industry or venturing out to a startup or small business. So you guys, and now this was around, I think 2010, is that right? Is that kind of when you guys started down this path?
Yeah, that's correct. We started at like probably around March or like late February 2010.
So now, so you
Around
take
that
that,
time.
you started on 2010, you take that, first year or year and a half or 2 years or whatever it is to kind of get, things figured out, start to iron out the details, start to get accustomed to running the business. Now, as you're growing, walk us through what's that progression. So now, how did things change or evolve, or as you're going over that period of time, transitioning from doing it side hustle to full time, bringing on team members to now, figuring out how to build and grow the business. Kind of what was that iteration, or what did it involve?
I would say, like for every business, like every business iteration, it's very different. For example, when we just started, like we had those like minor problems, just like finding new people, like adopting some very basic policies, giving payroll, signing agreements. At that time, it was like a huge challenge for us, and working day and night probably. At day, I was working as a software developer. At night, I was like searching for new potential clients, leads, and like, and at the same time we're settling some problems in the team. Someone did like someone, and you need to do this HR stuff by yourself. Probably on the second stage we start hiring like people for the back office, for to cover HR, to cover hiring, to cover legal questions. And I would say in every iteration there's always some sort of like a challenge. Now we have around like 100 people, and
Hmm.
it's so much different. Yes, we're thinking about scaling, we're thinking about adopting more complicated processes, production processes, bigger teams, higher quality standards, certificates, ISO, and other stuff. So again, it's also challenging and a lot of new things for me. That's what I like probably in business. All the time, you need to educate yourself. You need to speak to other business people. You just need to speak to smart people, go to conferences, events, and just get the new knowledge, which you can adopt in your business to find a way, to grow it up somehow.
No, I think that definitely makes sense. So now as you're growing, and maybe just to unpack that a bit. So did you guys just kind of, after that first year, you just stayed on the same path and you just kept doing the same work and just bringing on more people and doing more projects? Or did you have to iterate or expand your services, or sometimes you shrink your services? Maybe you start out too broad and you need to narrow down or niche down. And sometimes you find out you niche too much and you have to broaden out. So kind of, how did things evolve as you guys continue to evolve the business? Or did you get it right out of the chute and never have to change the business and just continued to grow?
No, no, no. I heard about those stories, but they're probably for books mostly. um, in order, to find our niche, our direction. Again, like still, even now, I'm not sure like we're doing everything properly. Yes, we're in the correct niche, because world is dynamic and it changes. Like at the very beginning, we started as mobile developers, mostly iOS, but at some point I realized, oh my God, it's so boring. Like, and I proposed, let's try game development, and like we just switched like the whole company to the game development after probably a year and a half, something like that. It wasn't like a hard switch instantly. No, it was just we have found some sort of a game project. We tried to do that, and we realized that our mobile skills give us the ability to develop games as well as some university and mathematical skills. We try to develop games, but on another iteration, we realized that like businesses demand more like serious games. They want some simulations. They want like games, but for businesses, so they can educate their employee, they can educate their staff, I don't know, contractors and other processes. So we like now we do less games. We do mostly some metaverses for social things. We do a lot of education
So
approach,
now
but
before you get too far into that, just because curious, so what, as you iterate and evolve, and I think that, sometimes you're just exploring, trying out new ideas, and that's the fun, both the fun and the scary part of being the owner, and the founder, and giving direction, is you get to try out new things, and sometimes it works awesome and it's a great idea, and other times it doesn't work out as well and you end up pivoting again. So what kind of led you down the path of doing game development, and then what kind of led you off the path of game development more to where you guys are at now? Kind of what was that decision process?
Game development was fun, like, and I still probably want to open like maybe another business just concentrated solely on game development. But at that moment, I realized that there's like demand get lower when the market filled with games. We were mostly doing games for mobiles, so you do like a quick game, you publish it, you get some shares from sales, and you do another game, so it's like never ending cycle. But at some point, I realized, oh, it's not working good. Like we need to find something better, and we start like asking clients, and we got some actually business clients from bigger companies, and they start asking like, guys, can you do like simulation? We have some industrial things we want to show for our potential clients, customers, and we would like to make some interactive experience for them so they can walk around machinery in 3D and check it out. So it's still like we have used like the same mechanics as we used in games, but we started to use them not for gaming, mechanics, not for just mostly for some sort of business logic, some purposes of companies.
No, makes sense. And so now as you've kind of gone through those iterations, start or evolved into gaming, evolved out of gaming, focus more on kind of the metaverse and some of those experiential things for businesses, and that kind of where are things at today? How's it continue to evolve? Are you guys still doing that? And is that kind of the main focus now, or where are things at today as the business continues forward?
I would say technically we're still able to do games. We're not making any games at the moment, but technically we're still able to do them because we use kind of similar mechanics still. But now, as we have scaled our clients, also we got bigger clients, and we have scaled because we got bigger clients. Now we mostly do like I would say like full package, like some sort of ecosystem, because in order to like satisfy your clients and clients for any business, you need to have a front end, but at the same time, if you have a front end, you need to have a back end. Yes, you need to have a server, like a brain of your business, to keep it working, rotate the wheel. So we do like the whole ecosystem, and I would say now we're mostly, and it's more interesting for me, like we are mostly concentrating on the infrastructure, because it's not only one server. Imagine you have a client and they have like 10,000 users. You cannot simply put them on one server and make sure like they all processed. No, it will not work. You need to have a like balancing server which will guide some clients from Europe to European servers, some clients from America to American servers, and so on. And now it's like I would say it's the most interesting direction for me, because it's big data, a lot of clients, a lot of data processing power, and so on. So just toys got bigger, I would say.
Hey, growing is always a good thing as long as it's and I would say controlled growth is a good thing. If you just grow and are going too crazy too fast, and it has its own set of problems, but if you can methodically grow and expand the business and otherwise mature along with it, it's a great place to be headed. So now as you look kind of as over the path of founding it, so you started out for a short period of time doing it as kind of a side hustle, testing the waters, jumped over full time with your partner, grew a bit, got into gaming, got out of gaming, or not completely out of gaming, but less focused on that, doing more experiential and metaverse and all of that, building out the team, growing it and expanding. Kind of now, where do you see the next 6 to 12 months headed for you guys? Kind of what are the next steps? Is it just continuing to expand and bring on new projects and new team members? Do you have any exciting areas that you're going to grow in, or are you seeing other directions you're going to go, or kind of what do you see as the next 6 to 12 months?
I would say probably in 6 to 12 months, more infrastructure. I would say bigger pressure, more users, and more abilities to process those users. But at the same time, I'm really curious and interested in the AI. I believe it's the future of the internet. Like it's the future of humankind. Yes, the AI. And once you have like really powerful infrastructure, it's really good to use some AI methods to just optimize some business processes, make them faster, better for clients, for end users. Again, it's all about user experience at the end. Yes, when you use any application, you're satisfied or you're not satisfied. So, and users, they don't care about how you do that. They just want a seamless, flow.
Well, sounds like it'll be a fun direction ahead, a lot of opportunities ahead, and a great time for you guys to continue to grow the business. And so I think that there's a lot of fun areas in those industries that will or certainly keep things lively and exciting. So. Well, now as we reach towards the end of the podcast, it's always a great time to transition to the one question I always like to ask at the end of each journey. So we'll jump to that now. So with that, as you're to look and as you're to go through and as you're building a business, as you're continuing to expand, as you're continuing to grow, and as you're continuing to iterate and evolve, there are points in time where you just get worn out with the business. So in other words, you say, oh, I'm tired, or I don't want to do this, or I have to deal with these problems, or I just want to focus on the fun stuff, or all of those different things. So you get a bit worn out and tired. And I think that's just par for course. But as you do that, what do you do when you get worn out with the business to continue forward?
I would say I'm really tired, but at the same time, I'm more excited than tired. So it's now an end process. Um, Probably more I do the business, more I want to open more businesses. Again, like with infrastructure, with different servers. Like you have one server and you want to separate it in smaller servers, but in different directions. So there are those like logical units responsible for different things, different niches, and probably in the future I would like to have more businesses. Again, it's not about money; it's just about the scale. Yes, it's really, I would say, like the bigger scale, the more exciting the business you do. Probably for younger and entrepreneurs, people who just starting their business and they're really curious how it works. So grow your business, and it will definitely be more and more interesting over time.
Awesome. Well, so when all else fails, you get worn out, work harder, grow the business, and you'll see the reward. So I like it. So great way to deal with
Hopefully,
it.
yes.
So now as we do wrap up the episode, if people want to reach out to you, they want to be a customer, they want to be a client, they want to be an employee, they want to be an investor, they want to be your next best friend, any or all of the above, what's the best way to reach out to you, contact you, find out more?
If you're talking about my personal contact, probably LinkedIn. If you have some ideas, inquiries, and just concepts, like just reach out website. We have really good contact form, and we check every message and respond to everyone.
Awesome. We'll definitely encourage people to reach out, support a great business, if nothing else, and make a new best friend. So with that, thank you again, Slava, for coming on the podcast. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure. Now, for all of you other listeners that are out there, if you can help us to share these founding journeys with even more startups and small businesses to help them along their success, just go and click subscribe, leave us a review, and make sure to click share. Helps us to help even more startups and small businesses along their journey to success. And on that note, if along your journey, you ever need help with patents or trademarks or anything else with your startup or your small business, just go to strategymeeting.com, grab some time with us to chat, and we're always here to help. Well, thank you again, Slava, for coming on the podcast, and wish the next leg of your journey even better than the last.
Thank you, Devin. Thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to spread the word.